Hi, and thanks for joining me for part 2 of exploring Kuala Lumpur. Today we're going to pick up where we left off by heading outside of the city to the Batu Caves. We opted to take a Grab there and back instead of the train, but the train station is located right beside the Grab drop-off and pick-up area, so both options are easy and convenient. We decided to visit close to sunset to avoid the hottest part of the day, and found that also meant it wasn't very crowded either. We also found that at this time of the day there were very few monkeys around. In fact, the few that we saw at this very first temple were the only ones we encountered the whole time we were there. As we continued the walk down the main path towards the cave, we found there are actually a few attractions here, including other temples, a small lake, a small zoo, shops, and local food vendors. And we would definitely recommend grabbing some water from one of those vendors before you begin the climb up to the top where Batu Caves is located. Climbing the 272 steps to the top was definitely a little easier since we didn't have the added worry of the monkeys, although it was still a very hot and sweaty experience. So be sure to have water, take your time, and make sure to turn around and check out the view behind you. Once you're inside the cave, it's important to note that there are 2 temples that are still in use, so it is important to be respectful of this when you visit. For us, that meant walking through the caves as far from the temples as possible while keeping our voices low. The natural beauty inside the cave is absolutely amazing, and it's very easy to understand why they want to use the inside of these limestone caves as a holy space. So taking the time to climb up the steps is actually really worth it once you get the full experience of being inside the caves. Heading back into the heart of the city, our next stop is Petaling Street. Street is a large outdoor covered market that offers lots of affordable shopping at its hundreds of stalls. However, we were surprised to find that there was very few food vendors mixed in. So if you're looking to grab a meal while you're here, you're definitely going to need to pop into one of the local restaurants. Just up the street from Petaling Market is the very popular Hindu temple Sri Maha Mariamman. And stopping by on your way back to the metro to check out the beautiful exterior of this temple, but also the street art that's painted on its exterior walls, should definitely be added to your list. The next place we visited might not be for everyone, but we love a good roller coaster and decided it was worth checking out the huge indoor theme park at Berea Times Square Mall. We were actually surprised with how large the park was, especially for being on the top floors of a mall. And at about $20 a person, the price wasn't a budget buster since it came with unlimited rides for all of the attractions in the park. And since we're already in Berea Times Square Mall, I figured this would be a good time to talk about all of the malls of Kuala Lumpur, as there are a lot of them, ranging in size and luxury level all over the city. The Times Square Mall was honestly extremely large and reminded us a lot of MBK Mall in Bangkok, with its mix of well-known stores and local shops that were set up like a street market. The TRX Mall is definitely on the higher end of luxury and happens to be the home to the only Apple store in Malaysia, so we definitely had to make sure to check that out while we were here. We visited the Apple Store both during the day and at night to get the full effect of its tiered dome multi-levels, and we would definitely recommend you doing the same if you're going to be in this area. Moving to a more local mall, Quill City Mall was the mall we spent the most time in, as it was across the street from our condo, had a grocery store, food court, and connected us to the metro. This is also the mall that had a lot of free shows and movies and other family-centered activities in its center court. Back to the luxury end of shopping, the Pavilion Mall was in the heart of the action right by KL Times Square and had a really beautiful center court showing beautiful holiday displays as well as a large selections of nice restaurants and high-end stores. As I mentioned, this mall is right by Times Square, which has a variety of live performers, colorful billboards, and the crisscross intersection that you will definitely want to check out while here because it very much gives a New York City vibe. And with that, we're going to wrap up our sightseeing adventures here in Kuala Lumpur. But next time, we'll be sharing with you a complete budget breakdown of our 2 months here in KL. So be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss that or any of the rest of our travels through Malaysia, as we have so much more to share with you to help you plan your very own happy travels.